Hey guys, I'm here gonna give a little breakdown on the Oklahoma Texas game. But before excuse me, before I get too involved in that, I want to say this. I I've subscribed to a lot of Sooner fans on here. This to sort of have my friendly disagreements with them from time to time. Excuse me, I adjust my webcam here. Um, Well, I have some of my friendly disagreements with him from time to time, just to sort of liven things up on these videos, because they can get kind of boring sometimes without a good old-fashioned friendly argument. But I would like to say one thing of respect to mainly Sooner Son 2. Um, I'm pretty sure that's your name. I'm vaguely remembering from memory your name. But at any rate, I just just love your videos. Love what you had to say, especially about coming back for all the people and all the voices of disrespect, because that was exactly what Texas season was last year. The season for Oklahoma now is what Texas had to do last year after missing on the championship game, whether they should have or not. Trying to get back and prove to the nation that they deserve to be in the ranking and the spots that they are. That was Texas season last year, and now Oklahoma's doing it. So best of luck to you guys. You made your first real step, first legitimate step today, or Saturday, in my mind, in beating Texas. Obviously every game is a small step, because you have to go undefeated in most cases to make the championship game. But this was their first legitimate step. And who knows, by season's end, this may not be considered a legitimate step because Texas looks a little rocky. But this is in a way satisfying for Oklahoma, but in a way not. This isn't the Texas team you want to beat. This is not the team you want. You don't want to beat Garrett. I mean, you want to beat Texas every year, obviously, and Texas wants to beat Oklahoma every year. But you don't want to beat Garrett Gilbert and James Kirkendall. You want to beat Colt McCoy and Jordan Shipley. That's the team you want to beat. Anyone against Texas is valued by anyone in the nation, obviously, but the same with Oklahoma. But this is not the team that you want to beat. You want to beat, especially the way you lost to that Colt McCoy-led team the past 2 years. This is not the team that you want to beat. But still, very good win, and it is the redemption win, coming back and winning. And I'm not downing any Sooner fans saying this is not a valuable win, or anything like that, or that this win is denotes any amount of success from Oklahoma. No, I'm not trying to say that at all, because as a Texas fan, believe me, when Texas last year went and played at home and beat Texas Tech, it felt so good. This last year, or this last couple weeks, when we went into Lubbock, played and won, it felt great too. But it wasn't the team that we wanted to beat. We wanted to beat Graham Harrell and Michael Crabtree, not Taylor Potts. But we still won. It was still a quality win, and we'll take it any day of the week. And it was our first step to redemption last year. This year, I said before the year. Now, if I don't do a video about this, I might just sound like a Monday morning quarterback thing coming out here. But before the year, I said that I thought it would probably be Alabama and Oklahoma in the championship game. But I had my doubts about whether or not Alabama would make it, because they had a rough schedule. They had a really rough 3-game stretch, and we were waiting for them to get past that we're waiting for them to get past that third game against South Carolina coming up here pretty soon. Because they already got past Arkansas, which I actually thought was the most legitimate shot to lose, was against Arkansas. And they managed to come back and win that game from being down in the fourth quarter. But more than Oklahoma and Alabama, I figured it would be Ohio State. Ohio State's got a great team this year. Look at the last couple of years when they've lost, it was against SEC teams that were just enormously fast. Alabama's not fast. fast, classic offense from the SEC that we're thinking about. OU's fast, but Ohio State's been increasing the speed of their defense. But anyways, that's a whole other video. But anyway, I said before the year actually started that I thought OU would win the championship against Ohio State. And I still hold by that, even more after seeing, this is really the first time I've actually seen OU play, and it kind of makes you think, how good is Texas if the team that, was just able to hold on against these other teams, like Air Force and them, how good is Texas that they couldn't beat this team? But it's because this team is much better than that. And when you look at those games, none of those teams really stuck with them. It was always, like Oklahoma was up by 17 points going into the fourth, and then lo and behold, the other team gets 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, and Oklahoma just runs the clock out. So it's not, the scoring shows them much closer than it actually was, from what I could tell in those games. But anyways, to this game, I said before this game started that I thought the one guy that would change this game for Texas, that would have to get his hands on the ball a significant amount of times if Texas was going to win this game, would be who? Cody Johnson. Cody Johnson touched the ball 3 times this. Sorry, I'm holding up 2 fingers. You'll see in a second. He touched the ball 3 times in this game. But 2 of those, yeah, that's why I was holding up 2 fingers. 2 of those 3 times, one was a 33-yard reception where it looked like he was wrapped up on the sidelines and was going to get, sort of, shoved out of bounds and all that. And he ended up spinning through, breaking the tackle, and getting an extra 15 yards on the play. This guy does not ever quit. The next play, he drug 2 Oklahoma defenders into the end zone with him for a 5-yard touchdown that put us at 17. Right after DeMarco Murray's phenomenal sideline tiptoe, just a great run by DeMarco Murray. But I said, yes, he has a high ankle sprain, but it didn't seem to be bothering him too much when he drug those 2 defenders into the end zone with him. So I still hold by what I say. If Texas is going to win games this year, especially coming up against a team like Nebraska, they're just going to have to run Cody Johnson, because he's one of those wear-you-down backs. He's just going to pound away for 2- and 3-yard gains for the first 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter, he's going to start busting those 10- 15-yard runs right and left, because they're tired of bringing down this horse. So I hold by what I said to that. And what I said about Oklahoma was that it was going to be Landry Jones. It was going to be how he reacted to this very experienced, very talented secondary, and I think he passed. There was a player or 2, I think, where he should have probably been intercepted. And, of course, Texas penalties bailed Oklahoma out on so many plays. But there's nothing you can say, because Oklahoma still has to execute after they get that second chance. And that's exactly what they did. Good teams execute and capitalize on penalties. And that's exactly what Oklahoma did all game. Freshman phenom that we were looking for, Jackson Jeffcoat, committed 2 or 3 penalties, got an unnecessary roughness penalty, which I'm really not sure where that one came from. And I'm not positive that was Jackson Jeffcoat. The commentators were saying it was, but to me it looked like it was Kenny Vaccaro. But either way, you all remember where the Oklahoma offensive lineman was just grabbing and shoving that our guy, either Kenny Vaccaro or Jackson Jeffcoat, around and throws him out of bounds. I'm not sure how we got called for unnecessary roughness with that. Penalties offset, we did. They already had a false start penalty. But at any rate, I don't think that was a making or breaking of the game. But, oh man. But anyway, we just committed way too many penalties to win this game, and Oklahoma capitalized on those penalties. Oklahoma made mistakes too, but they kept them to a minimal, and they made up for it. They faked the field goal. In my opinion, was a terrible play call, because it was just a terrible play call, because you're up 28 to 20. You kick the field goal, the game's over. So I think that I just thought that was a terrible play call by Oklahoma. We got them for it. We made them pay. But then they came through. They sacked Gilbert. Then we had two classic Greg Davis play calls this year. I'm not sure how this was the guy who led two, more than two. He led the Vince Young offense and then two Colt McCoy offenses that were two of the best in the NCAA. And what we set up, we have to do more than screen passes if we're going to win a game. And we'll have a 3rd and long situation or 3rd and 10, and we'll step up and throw a pass 3 yards downfield to one of our tight ends that you can't even be certain is going to hold on to the ball, and they're not going to get any yards after the catch because they just sort of stand there while defenders bounce off them and bring them down. You can't have your hands down your pants with play calling. But at any rate, I thought our defense played phenomenal all game, with the exception of those penalties, which just killed themselves because they kept themselves on the field longer than they should have been out there. And then Oklahoma's offense, which is phenomenal, went down with a hurry up and just caught us off guard before we could even line up. And got into the end zone. All 4 touchdowns that they had, I think 3 of the 4 actually, were where they ran the hurry up, and Texas was scrambling around trying to get lined up and everything. And they just snapped the ball before we were lined up and got into the end zone. And before the game, I was sort of making fun of, with my buddies, I was sort of making fun of DeMarco Murray. Every year coming into the game, he was going to be the game-changing performer. His freshman year, he ran all over our weak defense. Within the last 2 years, he had minus rushing yards. And I was sort of making fun of him, game changer that can't do anything. But I got hats off to DeMarco Murray. He came through. He really played a great game. Had 2 touchdowns against what was, before this week and last week, what was supposed to be one of the number 1 rushing defenses. In that first quarter, he was getting stuffed for just 1-yard gains and then braked out that 14-yard or 18 or 20 or I don't know, that touchdown run in the first quarter, the first touchdown for OU. And so, I apologize to every Sooner fan, DeMarco Murray fan, because I was making fun of him pretty good, but he really came through, and I have nothing to say but, completely changed my opinion of him. But anyway, coming up, Texas got Nebraska. I'm back on the Garrett Gilbert bandwagon. I wasn't off. I was saying I think this guy will be good for us, but I don't think he'll be the next Colt McCoy or it's unfair to compare him to Colt McCoy, but I didn't think that he was going to be the guy who came through for us big time, and was the next huge leader for this team. I still don't know that he'll be a huge leader because vocally he's not that much, but he was fired up in this game. He was on the sidelines, yelling, jumping around. It was good to see that from him. But, Texas got to quit shooting themselves in the foot this year with defensive penalties, and maybe we'll be a little bit better because it makes our defense look bad by games in that we gave up 28 points because our offense is not good enough to put up 28 points on a consistent basis. We can put up 20, 24, but getting 4 full touchdowns, I don't know if we can do that on a game-out basis. So we got to hold our opponents to 17, 21 points. So we got to quit committing those penalties, and all you can see is look over and see Will Muschamp astonished on the sideline against those penalties. But back on the Garrett Gilbert bandwagon, he definitely showed us a lot this week. I was never off, but like I said, I was just wondering whether or not he was going to be the next all-out leader. But I think he will be. He grew up a little bit in today's game, so it's a process. He's a first-year starter, but hook 'em horns. Great game by OU. Can't say anything else. OU's the better team, and can't make any excuses. OU. Oklahoma Sooners, you are the better team this year. And hook 'em horns, get a bye week to prepare for a very talented Nebraska team. We're going to need it.